So we just got new Armed Dragon support along with a very funny skill. We will talk about the skill later, but basically the skill allows us to play Armed Dragon level 10 white as well as Dark Armed Dragon in a deck that doesn't really synergize with those two cards really well, but the skill does give us a lot of options of actually summoning those two cards, especially Dark Armed Dragon, because you might be able to notice that we are actually not playing any dark monsters other than Dark Armed Dragon, so the skill will help us actually summon that card. Anyway, Armed Dragons are a bunch of mostly wind dragon monsters that revolve around the gimmick of sending a monster from your hand to the graveyard to level up their monsters on field. And back in the day, you used to have to wait a whole turn for their effects to actually trigger to summon their higher level counterparts from the deck. But the new support allows us to just do it all in a single turn, just by discarding monsters from our hand. And also, every single Armed Dragon Thunder monsters have effects when they are sent to the graveyard by the effect of your Armed Dragon monsters. And those really help you gain back the advantage of discarding all the monsters from your hand, and that is also the reason why we're playing a whole bunch of monsters and not a lot of back row in this deck. Anyway, we'll go through the cards one by one. First off is our main boss monster, Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. If this card is special summoned by the effect of an Armed Dragon monster, it gains the following effects based on its attack. And this effect, in case you don't know, it is a reference to the GX anime. So it has that 1, 10, 100, 1,000 effects. So this card's name becomes Armed Dragon level 10 if it has 1 or more attack. If it has 10 or more, it cannot switch control. For 100, it cannot be destroyed by battle. For 1,000, it has a quick effect. Once per opponent's turn, you can send a card from your hand to the graveyard, and then destroy any other card on the field, and then this card gains a 1,000 attack. And also it has a effect when it has 10,000 attack, but we won't use this effect. But when it somehow does have 10,000 attack, you can once per turn destroy all other cards on the field. You will basically never activate this effect. Anyway, we have our main starter, Armed Dragon Thunder level 3. This is our main normal summon, and this card's name becomes Armed Dragon level 3 while in the field or graveyard. That effect is shared with all the Armed Dragon Thunder monsters. They are always treated as the normal counterparts without the Thunder in the name when they are on the field or in the graveyard. So if you look at the original Thunder Armed Dragons, those can only be special summoned by the effect of, for example, this level 7 can only be summoned by Armed Dragon level 5, and cannot be special summoned in any other way. But since the Armed Dragon Thunder level 5 treats itself as the regular Armed Dragon level 5, it could summon the normal level 7 from your deck, so you don't have to summon it the usual way. Anyway, Armed Dragon Thunder level 3 has the effect of sending a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then send this card from your field to the graveyard, and special summon a level 5 or lower Armed Dragon monster from your hand or deck. And this effect is shared with all the Armed Dragon Thunder monsters except for level 10, and it can summon a Armed Dragon from your deck that has the same or lower level than 2 levels higher than itself. Anyway, it has the effect when it is It has effect when it is sent to a graveyard. To activate a dragon monster's effect, you can draw 1 card. So we're only playing 1 copy of this card, so we won't be using this effect very often because for some reason this card is an ultra rare. So you will use this effect a lot more often in the pay-to-win version, where you're actually playing 3 copies of this card. But for this version, we actually won't use that effect that often. Anyway, for our second boss monster, we have Armed Dragon level 10 white. This card cannot be normal summoned or set, it must be special summoned by its own effect. You can banish Armed Dragon monsters from your field or graveyard, which total levels equal 10, and special summon this card, and also insert a White Veil from your deck to your hand. We are not playing White Veil, but we will be adding it with our skill. And Also, you take a no effect damage, so it bypasses the drawback of White Fail when it gets destroyed. And at the start of a damage step, if this card attacks, you can pop a card on the field. This is really useful for clearing the board. And our third boss monster, which is also probably the best one if we're going second, is a Dark Armed Dragon, which is also in the same box. This card can only be special summoned if you have exactly 3 dark monsters in your graveyard, and don't worry, because the skill will guarantee that you always have exactly 3. And it has a non-once per turn effect to banish a dark to pop a card on the field. This is really useful to clear your opponent's entire board. It clears back row, it clears monsters. You can summon it before even normal summon, so it really helps with ensuring that your mainline combo doesn't get disrupted. Anyway, here's other Armed Dragon Thunder monsters. This is Armed Dragon Thunder level 7, and it treats itself as the regular Armed Dragon level 7, and also it has the level up effect for level 10 or lower Armed Dragon monsters. And also, if this card is sent to a graveyard to activate a Dragon Monsters effect, you could add any Armed Dragon card from your deck to your hand. Those include the regular Armed Dragons, the Armed Dragon Thunder monsters, and also the spells and traps. We were playing 2 Armed Dragon level 7s. We won't play the regular Armed Dragons in the expensive version because we are only playing them because of the skill forces us to play at least 10 Armed Dragon monsters that are specifically Wind attribute. So the level 10 White and Dark Armed Dragon don't count towards that limit. So because we can't play 3 copies of level 3, we are forced to play 2 substitutes. In this case, we are playing level 7 because it is probably the best monster that we could summon. It also has a really useful effect that allows us to clear the board basically by sending a monster from our hand to the graveyard. So you will be summoning this card during your turn when your opponent actually has a lot of monsters, and it essentially clears the board, which is pretty useful. And we have our last Armed Dragon Thunder monster, Armed Dragon Thunder level 5. This card can also level itself up with the same effect as the other Armed Dragon Thunder monsters, and for its effect, when it's sent to a graveyard to activate a Dragon-type monster's effect, you can add a level 5 or higher Wind Dragon monster from your deck to your hand, which will always be a Armed Dragon monster because we're not playing any other monsters other than Armed Dragon monsters because the skill forces us to not play any other monsters except Armed Dragons. Anyway, for spells and traps, we're not playing traps, we're playing 3 copies of Cosmic just to get rid of back row. Again, this is free to play because of box chips. And we were playing 3 copies of Armed Dragon Flash. This basically summons Armed Dragon Thunder level 3 from our deck, and it doesn't use our normal summon, so it's pretty useful. And for our extra deck, it's just a bunch of random stuff. You won't ever summon any of them, but it's just nice to have. We have Sky Palace as a rank 10, Tatak Moth as a rank 7, a bunch of links like Bomber Dragon, Power Code, Lumino, Code Talker, Link Disciple to get rid of Ibli, and Pentastag. Okay, now let's talk about the skill, which is the bread and butter of the deck. This skill does a lot of things. It sends a monster from your hand to the graveyard, and then adds a level monster from your deck to your hand. Most of the time, you will be adding either the Armed Dragon Thunder level 3, which is your main starter, or you will be adding level 10 White, if you already have a way to get to your level 3. And also, after you activate this effect, you add 4 different Armed Dragon monsters in this list, plus a White Veil. You add all 5 of these cards into your main deck, and then you send up to 2 monsters from your hand or deck, which have a combined level of 10, which helps you summon level 10 White. And also, after that, you select up to 3 monsters in your graveyard, and they become dark. So that is how you get your requirement fulfilled for your Dark Armed Dragon. Even though you're not playing dark monsters, this skill will just change the monsters to dark from your graveyard. And also it's up to 3, so even if you already have, let's say, another Dark Armed Dragon in your graveyard, you could just change only 2 monsters to dark, so you will meet the requirement of having only exactly 3 dark monsters. And also it has a restriction that this skill can be only used once per duel. If you begin the duel with a deck that contains 10 or more Wind armed dragon monsters and no monsters other than armed dragon monsters or normal monsters. So that is why we were building the deck this way, and that's why we were forced to play armed dragon level 7. Okay, so I don't actually own the expensive version of this deck because I haven't have enough gems or money to actually get free copies of Dragon level 3, but I have built this deck in YGO Omega, which is a free Yu-Gi-Oh! Simulator if you want to check it out. Anyway, here's the expensive version. I have tested this out by test hands, and it's pretty consistent. The main difference is that we were playing free copies of Thunder level 3, we were playing free Dark Arm Dragon, and we were playing Book of Moon, because this deck really struggles going first, and you really want a way to actually stop your opponent if you're happy to go first, so Book of Moon is one way that we could do that, and we're only playing one copy of level 10 white because it's searchable, and yeah, the extra deck is just better stuff. We're playing Libe, we're playing Big Eye, Doom Rider, Nightmare Lynx, plus of course Link Disciple. And other than that, the deck is pretty similar, and the playstyle is pretty much the same. Okay, so let me talk about what this deck is good at. This deck is really good at OTKing. This deck is a really offensive deck, as you can see in the stats. This deck could make Arm Dragon Thunder level 10, plus a Dark Arm Dragon, plus a Arm Dragon level 10 white in a single turn, because of your skill, which basically fulfills both the requirements of level 10 white and Dark Arm Dragon. And also the level 10 Thunder can be easily summoned just by ranking up your, leveling up your Arm Dragon Thunder level 3 over and over again. And this deck also has a lot of ways to pop your opponent's cards. Mainly you will be popping them with Dark Arm Dragon, which can pop cards not once per turn. And Arm Dragon level 7 is also a really good board wipe, because you could discard a monster and destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls with a attack less than or equal to that sent monster's attack. And your monsters have a lot of attacks, so you will be board wiping your opponent's board like most of the time. And not a lot of things that your opponent can do, except for maybe Dengusu, which is the main problem of this deck. But other than that, any opponent's monsters should not pose a problem to prevent this deck from OTKing. And also, level 10 white does destroy a card when it attacks during the damage step. So if you destroy the card that it's battling, it will stop the attack because it activates at the start of the damage step. But you could just destroy something else, so this problem won't occur. And the main problem of this deck is that it is very bad going first. This deck only has one thing that it can do going first. It is to make Thunder level 10 and pass. And Thunder level 10 is one pop and nothing else. So it does have a quick effect to pop your opponent's cards, and that is pretty much the only thing this deck can do going first, is to pop a single card. So if your opponent is playing Orcust, it's probably not going to go so well. Or even if you're playing against a Raging Pendulum player, you can't pop your skills because Pendulum Call prevents them from being popped. And also, if they summon a whole bunch of monsters at once, popping just one of them is not enough, and also they could force you to activate its effect by having monster removals or Book of Moons and everything like that. So this deck is really, really fragile if it goes first, but if it goes second, it's really, really strong because you can destroy everything your opponent controls. So it is a very coin flip reliant deck, so in my opinion, this deck is not very good competitively, but it is quite fun because you can summon all the big Arm Dragon monsters really, really easily, especially with the help of a skill. So yeah, let's have a look at the replays now. Okay, so we are going second, which is wonderful. We love going second with this deck. Our opponent is playing Nasera. I honestly have no idea what they're playing. They're playing Warrogs. That's fine. They're going to summon 2 monsters, set 1 and pass. That is not a lot. We could play through this. We have Arm Dragon Flash, so we could use that to summon the Thunder Dragon level 3. That will level up to a level 5, discarding the level 7, which will search as a Dark Armed Dragon. We'll activate the crossover to add a white to our hand, send 2 cards, and then turn 3 monsters to dark. And that meets the summoning requirements of a Dark Armed Dragon. We will summon it and then pop our opponent's cards. Our opponent will chain Shrink. Weird card, but okay. We will pop his monsters again. We'll pop it a 3rd time, and I didn't read his monster effects. That card cannot be destroyed by card effects. Anyway, we'll still summon Armed Dragon level 10 by just leveling up our monsters and discarding the monsters we have in our hands. And we're gonna special summon White by banishing 2 monsters, grabbing a Veil. We'll not activate the Veil because we want a card in our hand for our Thunder level 10 to discard. So we will attack our opponent. Our opponent will have 200 life points left. Our opponent sets a card. We will discard a card to pop our opponent's Mirror Force, thankfully, and we will just attack for game. Okay, in our second game, I think this is a mirror match, but we are going first. This is not ideal. The only thing we can probably do is just make Armed Dragon level 10 Thunder and just end turn. But that's still better than nothing, I guess. We will summon level 5 by leveling up to level 3, level 5 level up to level 7, discarding the level 7. Level 7 will grab another level 7, and then we will activate level 7 to level up into a level 10. We'll leave the level 7 in our hand, so during our opponent's turn, we can discard the level 7 to get a search. Our opponent is actually not playing a Armed Dragon deck, they're just playing Karakuris. That is perfect because if you pop his normal summon, I'm pretty sure he can't summon anything else, which he couldn't, which is wonderful. We'll activate our skill now to meet the summoning requirements for Dark Armed Dragon. So now we have 3 Dark monsters, we'll summon Dark Armed Dragon, and he will scoop. This is our 3rd game, and thankfully we are going a 2nd. So our opponent is, in fact, playing Meta, they're playing Raging Pendulum, but we did draw a Cosmic Cyclone, so it would have been a lot better if we went first to Cosmic his scales, but I guess it's good going 2nd too, because if our opponent has a set card, we could just Cosmic it before we commit to our board. But let's see what our opponent is going to do. Our opponent is going to activate their skill, and they're going to pen summon for free. One of them will be an Odd Eyes, plus a level 4 and another level 4. Then Noble Dragon back itself from the graveyard. They're going to Synchro Summon Shooting Riser Dragon. And I guess send Trickstar Candina. And then she's gonna normal summon Trickstar Candina and end turn. Interesting. But we could do this. We're gonna level 3. Level up to level 5. Level 5, when it's sent to graveyard, grabs it level 7. We're gonna discard the level 7 to grab the normal Dragon level 7, which has a really cool summoning animation. We'll activate Thunder level 7 to grab a Dark Armed Dragon, and before we activate Armed Dragon level 7 to wipe his field, he will make Trishula to banish level 7. That's fine, because we haven't activated our skill yet. We will do just that, grabbing a level 10 white, setting 2 cards, and changing 3 monsters to dark. And now we have 3 dark monsters, we could special summon our Dark Armed Dragon, pop our opponent's monsters, pop our opponent's other monster. We're gonna pop his skill just because I know that he is under Pendulum Call, but why not? We're gonna win anyway. We're gonna summon a level 10 white, set 2, just because, and attack for a game.